Hey guys, it's Katie here with Life in the Mundane. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, we cover topics on homeschooling, home management, parenting, and all sorts of things like that. And if those are things that interest you, I would love if you would take a second to subscribe to my channel. Today, we are talking homeschool co-ops. What are they? Why do I think they're a good idea? And just a few tips when you're trying to consider what co-op might be a good fit for you. So let's get started. Okay, so what is a homeschool co-op? Let's just start out with the terminology. Not everyone's familiar with it, but basically a homeschool co-op is just a homeschool cooperative. It is more than one homeschool family getting together to do something school related. So this is something that we've been a part of, several different ones, both as a child growing up and then as an adult with my kids. And so it's something that's near and dear to my heart, but I feel like the perfect fit can make or break the experience. So I wanted to kind of share with you guys some tips on that. Before I do that though, what are some benefits of being in a homeschool co-op? This list is not exhaustive by any means, but I hope it'll give you a few ideas to get you to start thinking about it. The first thing is that it's a great opportunity for your kids to meet and make new friends, to get that socialization. If you watched my channel for a long time, I'm a second generation homeschooler. I have no concerns about homeschool socialization because my kids tend to be more social than most kids. They have more opportunities to get out and do different things and specialized opportunities, and so I'm not worried about it, but it is a benefit that they do get this extra time with their friends. And the second benefit is they get an opportunity to learn from someone other than me. And the reason I think this is important is whether they go to school, to a formal school, in the future for high school or something, or for college, and even within the workplace, they are going to need to learn to learn from people who aren't mom. So I love the opportunity that my kids get to go and learn from a different teacher. They get to see different teaching styles, different kinds of expectations, and so I really like that opportunity for them. The third thing I would say as far as the benefit of homeschool co-ops is that they can help you with your current curriculum. So they can help supplement your curriculum and maybe fill in missing pieces. So maybe, covering art, drama, covering things, my son took a class in crocheting, which is awesome because they have zero skills in that area. And the kids have taken classes in ballet, all sorts of areas where I am not qualified to teach. I don't know how to do those things. It would take a lot for me to learn how to do those things. So I love the fact they can have experiences like that outside of what I can personally offer. It also gives them opportunities to explore what interests them, because I have 6 kids. They all have different interests, and for me to teach them, be the sole teacher, and to cover adequately all the different things that they're interested in is just beyond my time. There's just only 24 hours in a day, and I just can't get to it all. So this is a great opportunity to allow them the opportunity to learn those things from others. The fourth thing I will say, and again, like I said, this is not an exhaustive list, but the fourth thing I will say is that it's an opportunity to assist you. So maybe it's things that you're missing in your curriculum. Maybe it's your core curriculum that you need help with. So especially when you get into the high school years, when you start getting intimidated by the science and the math that is expected of your child, this is a great opportunity to join a homeschool co-op. There are co-ops out there that will teach those core subjects for you and then just give homework for the kids to do throughout the week. So it's a great opportunity to do that if you're feeling unsure or iffy. If you want your kids to have the experience of maybe a roundtable discussion or doing these science experiments in a group, co-ops can be the great answer for that. And the last thing I will say is just that it's a great opportunity for moms to connect. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes being a homeschool mom can feel a little isolating just because in our day-to-day interaction, we only have our experience to deal with. And so getting to be a part of a co-op and getting to communicate with other moms, getting to talk to them, to understand that you're not the only one that struggles with things, or to maybe get ideas on how you can approach something differently, is a really fantastic resource. So what do I do? Okay, I've decided to join a co-op. What do I do? First thing is you got to find them. So in our area, it's actually pretty simple. We have a teacher parents association for the state of Kansas. So you can go to their website. They have a tab for co-ops, and you can see most, not quite all, but most of the co-ops that are available in the area, and details and information, how often they meet, what the cost is, who the contact person is, things like that. But maybe you don't have something like that in your area. You can just Google co-ops and then your town, because quite a few co-ops these days actually have their own websites. Not all of them, but several do. So you might be able to find it that way. Another way is to go on Facebook and just put out there in some of the local homeschool groups that you're in, and just ask, is anyone part of a co-op, or would anybody be interested in forming one together? We did this with a field trip co-op. I've done a video on it before, and I will post that above and below for you guys, but created my own field trip co-op, and so you can very easily do that as well. The other thing is just word of mouth, talking to other homeschool moms in the area, finding out what do they do, or what do they know, or would they be interested in doing something with you. So that's kind of the way to find them. But once you find them, how do you narrow down the list? Because it can be kind of daunting. The great thing is there's so many opportunities out there that you're sure to find a good fit for you. But how do you pick? I think the most important thing probably is to ask yourself, why do you want to join a co-op? Because there are so many different kinds out there. There are ones that are formal classes, there's ones that are supplemental classes, there are ones that are not classes at all, that are just field trips, or it's just more of a socialization at the park, playtime. We're part of one that we're going to be doing this next year that does, they just meet in a gym. And they have different games and activities for the kids to do, and they can just kind of rotate between those activities, and it's very laid back, and that's more of what we needed for this year. In the past, we've done the classes where we've done 3 or 4 classes in a day, and it's been a fantastic experience, but we just kind of had to evaluate what was best for this year. And that's my next tip, is just to think through, what do you need out of this year? Why do you want to do this? Are you looking for help? Are you looking for them to just have that experience? Are you hoping that you can outsource some of those classes that maybe you don't feel adequate to teach? Or are you looking for more just the connection with people, the connection with moms, the connection with kids? Those are important factors to think about. So kind of lay all that out on paper, what you're really wanting out of this. And then as you're doing research, you can then weigh the actual cost and make sure that you don't get caught up in the glitz and glam of some of the offerings of these co-ops, and actually make sure you're getting what your family needs for this year, and know that what's for this year may not be for next year. A couple of things I would recommend looking into it. I can't tell you what the right pick is for you, but I can tell you some criteria that I use to determine if this is going to be good for us. The first thing is, what day of the week and how often does it meet? For us, having a Monday co-op is like an absolute no-go. We cannot do that because Monday is our most productive school day. I love Mondays. I know everybody has all the memes and the hate for Mondays, but I love Mondays, and they are definitely by far the most focused time that we have as a family. So if I take my most focused day and I'm out of the house doing a co-op, that's going to be really hard to recoup from. And so I chose not to do a Monday co-op. But I have other friends who love starting it out that way, and they love starting out the week that way, and they started out strong, and their Tuesday ends up being more productive because they're energized and they have that little pep to their day. So, it doesn't mean what's right for me is right for you, but something to consider. Also, some people want that shot in the arm on Wednesday. They want a Wednesday co-op that just kind of keeps them encouraged to keep pushing on and not get caught up in the week, not on hump day. But again, for us, it kind of derails our week. So it's hard for us to jump back into the regular program. So for us, Friday co-ops are the best because it's at the end of the week. And honestly, by Friday, our steam is pretty low, and we need some extra motivation. So that's a great time to do that. So just think through what day of the week and how often. Some of them are once a week, some are twice a week, some are every other week, some are once a month. So our field trip co-op that I created is once a month. We're also part of another co-op that meets every other week, every other Friday, and that seems to be a nice mix for us because we're using it more supplemental. If we were using it for core curriculum like history or for math or for science, I would want it to be probably once a week, just because if it's a core curriculum, or more, sometimes twice a week, that they would need that interaction more often. Another thing to consider is the cost, and by cost I mean 2 things: the cost of money and the cost of time. Make sure you know these expectations up front, because while most co-ops are very upfront with it, you can also, a few of them maybe are newer and they don't have those expectations laid out clearly. So I think it's important to ask some questions to make sure you're understanding what's expected of you. So first of all, the cost of money. Can you afford it? There are lots of options out there. There are some that you pay for and you drop your kids off, and it's an all-day kind of thing, so it's going to cost a little bit more. There are other ones where parents volunteer, so that kind of lowers the cost a little bit, or maybe there's a cost to join the co-op, but the materials cost separate. So just get an idea of what you can afford and what would work right for your budget. But the second thing is probably the more important thing, to me at least, because it can be a little bit more confusing, and that is the cost of time. Are you going to be required to teach? Are you going to be required to help out in a classroom, to volunteer? And if so, how many hours? Some have requirements for volunteering however many hours your kids are in classes. You have to volunteer that many hours. Some say that you volunteer, let's say it's a 3-hour. There's 3 classes in the co-op. Some say you have to volunteer for 2 of those class hours, and the 3rd hour you have off. Others have no volunteer requirements, and it's just drop off your kids and go. So just be aware of that. Also be aware of what the cost is going to be for your student. Yes, there's going to be the class time or the actual co-op time there, but is there going to be homework, extra projects outside of that? Just because it costs a lot does not mean, in time or money, does not mean it's a bad fit, but you definitely don't want to be surprised by those factors. The last thing I will say is when you are looking at co-ops, make sure to talk to somebody. At best, at least talk to the coordinator of the co-op. You can usually email them, call them on the phone, and just ask some questions. Ask these questions, that I've mentioned. And then don't be afraid to ask other moms. Ask the coordinator for a reference. Say, hey, can I talk to a few other moms? What have they liked? What have they disliked? How long have they been a part of the co-op? Do they feel like it can get a little cliquish sometimes? Is it pretty open to new people? Things like that. What do you wish you would have known? How many supplies did you have to purchase? Did you have to have a backpack and pack lunches? And did you have to provide your own supplies, or does the cost that you're paying cover the supplies? I just think these are important things to ask. And just know that, even if you do pick a dud, it's just for a semester. It's just for a year. And there's a lot to be learned for you and your kids, even in experiences that are more of a dud experience. So I would encourage you to stick it out, to fulfill your commitment to the co-op that you pick, and just give it a try. Just see if it's right for you and learn from that experience. Part of it is I didn't know what I wanted exactly out of an experience, out of a co-op, until I experienced it. And knowing, okay, this is great, but this was a lot of preparation, or man, I came back from this day and was completely drained and there was nothing left. One thing that we found with this co-op that we're doing that's much more laid back next year is that it doesn't meet until 12:30. So it doesn't meet until after lunch on Friday, which means that I can still get in some school time before we go, and but then we can use that sort of as a treat at the end of the week. Like I said, what works for us may not work for you. So think through these factors and don't be afraid to fail. When we're failing, when we make mistakes, we're learning. And so I want to encourage you guys to check into it and just give it a chance. Try it out. It may not be for you. Some people, the season is not right for co-ops, and other times it is. So I just want to encourage you in that. I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. If it has, I would love if you guys would share. Could you comment below and tell me, are you part of a co-op? How did you guys find that co-op? I would love to hear what you guys' experiences are. And if you think there's anything I'm missing in this list, I would love to hear as well. Like I said, I would love if you guys would subscribe, and I will talk to you later this week. Bye.